Frame. Skip.
Get ready.
It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Begin.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Frame Skip episode 122. I'm your host this week. My name's George, and I'm joined by the indomitable Austin Eller. Just kidding. His name's Austin J. Eller. Austin, how's it going?
I like to go by Jeller. I mean, that's fine. Everybody says that at this point. It's like, back when my wonderful PlayStation Network username was Mario Kart Wii 140, everybody called me that. And I respected it.
That was legendary.
Oh, Kart was spelled with a C. With a C.
Fucking loser. Okay. So wait, was Mario Kart 170 with a K, was that taken? Yes,
actually. The other 139 that I tried, they were all taken. So I went with 140. And, even when I hit 140, the one with the K, with K-A-R-T, that was taken. So I had to go with C-A-R-T.
You didn't want to do 141? You didn't want to push that button?
No.
Too much.
Is 140 like an important digit to you?
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, what it was, just seriously here for a second, this is what my 12-year-old self thought was cool. So my initials are AJE, and for some reason I thought that just sounded good with 140. So that's what I went with.
You're right. That does
AJE 140. Yeah.
That's really. How old were you?
12 when I made that username.
That is perfect 7th grader logic.
Yeah, for sure. Which is, of course, why I changed my PlayStation Network username as soon as I could.
See, I was a different kind of nerd. So if I had your initials, I would have done AJE of Apocalypse, like Age of Apocalypse.
Oh.
I'm a professional writer. Thinking like that is I get the big bucks, this guy. That other beautiful, sultry voice you hear is the one, the only Seth Lakos.
What's up, big dog?
I'm Big Dog.
Hey, you're Big Dog. Big Dog today, anyway.
I'm BD. That's me.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What a day. How's it going? How are you? Before I get into my spiel.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I had to do real yard work today, which is not normal for me, because this is my first year actually owning a house. So the people before me had flower beds, and I came back from my Disney trip and they were completely overgrown with weeds.
Oh no.
And I'm like, wow, that sucks. Cause it was springtime. I was gone for a month and I came back and boom, they're there. So I had to get on my knees out there and actually pull everything out. And I'm like, this sucks. I don't know why people do this. I'm going to put a rock garden in. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Not a flower person. Don't know the first thing about flowers. So I think me and Caitlin, when we first bought the house, talked about just getting fake flowers and putting them in there and just being done with it. But I think I'm just gonna put rocks down.
That's cool. You have a shitty cat. Do you have any intention of getting a shitty dog or any sort of outdoor pet like that?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna get a Great Pyrenees dog. They're
nice.
180 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that have whiskey around their neck and they rescue climbers in the Himalayas, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great dogs.
Pretty sweet.
Huge dogs.
Yeah, it's massive.
Yeah.
You gonna get a whiskey necklace for yours?
I don't know. I don't think so. But my dad is 10 minutes away and owns 45 acres. So I can take him up there and let him roam free, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I just got these 2 fat cats right now. It would be nice to let your dog outside to take a shit if you do get a giant Pyrenees. Yeah, I mean, right around my house, I'm gonna have to walk him because I originally intended to fence in my backyard, but that's expensive and you don't want to. No, it's not the price. It's my neighbor is just really, really nice, and that is
hold on.
You just don't want him to take it personally.
I don't want to take it personally. He mows my grass for me.
Okay.
And we got the waving thing going on, and he's an old man who's been here his whole life. And I feel like I move in and I'm barriers, right? And I just feel like that's disrespectful, and I don't want to pull that cord. So
you should just put up solid like brick walls, like 10 feet high all around your,
Listen,
your
I
backyard.
don't want
Yeah,
I don't want to be dark, right? I don't want to
Yeah.
be dark. He's like 85. I'm just biding my time.
That's a little too dark.
It's the truth.
I like the idea though of like you building a 10-foot wall, then he gets like an 11-foot ladder, so he can still like talk to you, and then you just put up like another foot of bricks.
No communication.
This is not
No.
why we moved here.
I don't know, my opinion might change at some point, but right now, I also just have like way too different stuff that's going on in the house to bother with that.
Yeah.
I want to get like central air. I want to get natural gas. I want to redo a couple of the rooms. So there's other stuff that needs taken care of first.
Yeah, man, heat pumps are like fucking expensive.
Yeah.
I feel like we just finished paying those off when we got them installed last year.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's enough from the homeowners association. That could be our little thing. Sorry, Austin.
Yeah, where's the
Also, I got
overpriced
something to
apartment
say.
rental association? I want to talk about that for a little bit.
I got
Buddy,
something to say.
I lived in San Francisco for 5 years.
Go ahead, Seth.
Listen, there is Coke Zero out there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And it is unironically the best Coke. It's not the original Coke. It's not Diet Coke. It's not Coke Cherry. It's not Vanilla Coke. It's Coke Zero, the best Coke.
Is that a metaphor we're waiting for you to arrive at, or
No, that's all I had to say.
That is the statement.
that's all you had to say? Okay. I thought there was gonna be like a comparison between different types of Cokes and apartments and homes.
I'm sick of people. I'm sick of people skipping out on the Coke Zero. It's the best Coke.
No,
Well-
Mexican Coke is the best Coke.
You're wrong about that. Actually, it's Coke Zero.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I thought during host week you were never wrong, but that's whatever.
Seth, when we were am I misremembering something? When we were at that nice restaurant at Hollywood Studios, like the second time we went, were they like out of Coke Zero or something? And you had this dilemma of like what to do, or am I misremembering that?
No, she asked me if Pepsi was okay, and I was like, I guess. And then she walked away, and I was like, it's not okay, actually. That's how that went.
In Maine, the most popular soda provider is Pepsi. Like, there's not a single
rough.
restaurant you could go to. No, it's awesome because I fucking love Mountain Dew. I love Mountain
Oh,
Dew.
okay. Well, there you go.
And can't get Mountain Dew at Coca-Cola places. You know how good a Mountain Dew and like a friggin' Whopper would be? You guys have any idea?
Yeah. Mountain Dew is pretty phenomenal, and Coke has nothing against Mountain Dew. Like you got your Coke and Pepsi, you got like your 7-Up and your Sprite, right? But Mountain Dew stands on a peak on its own.
Yeah.
And Coke doesn't have anything to compete against Mountain Dew. It's weird.
I mean, they have Sprite, but it's not really the same. Sprite, like, honestly feels like a health drink compared to
Yeah.
other sodas. Like, that
Yeah.
is like my go-to hangover drink.
I drink Sprite when I'm sick sometimes, you know? Like, yeah. This feels healthier than like Coke, but it's the same. It's just clear.
Okay.
And we are joined by our fourth wing, our fourth wheel. That's how you go.
There he is.
No, we're not joined by our fourth wheel.
He says no.
He just waved
All right.
me off.
Fixing
Okay.
stuff.
We'll introduce our fourth wheel when the time is right.
Now's your opportunity to say whatever you want about him and have him not
Yeah.
be able to reply.
You know, my least favorite thing about this podcast is just the coach Kyle Newman. I got to say that. He's not here. He's not listening to us. Totally not in this call right now.
Also, I think the Cowboys made a mistake by letting Kellen Moore go, and they should have re-signed Amari Cooper because they clearly ran out of receivers last year. So, no argument from coach. So that must mean I'm right. It's okay. Mike McCarthy will lead them firmly into the second round this year.
Okay, and for anybody watching, just FYI, I've got to figure out how to get all the cameras together. So that's why there's all this nonsense happening on the screen right now.
Frameskip is the nonsense podcast.
Well, Austin is doing technical support, and while Coach is, Little Mermaiding because he's on land and he can't speak. Seth, what have you been up to this week? Something cool from your week this week?
Yeah, so after last week, after communicating with you fellas, I started reading Light of the Jedi. I'm about halfway through it. It's pretty good. Fine.
Oh, really? I
Uh,
thought it was so. I thought it was so slow.
yeah, I mean, what I'm finding hard to deal with is them just jumping to a new era and just introducing like 15 characters at once.
Mhm.
I think they should have kept that circle a little smaller and then like slowly expanded it. But they just seemed very excited and then wanted to drop, everybody on you at once. And I'm like, I can't keep track of all these people in my head. So that's the one thing I'm struggling with. Like I'm constantly looking people up because now they have like comic books and stuff where like you can see their descriptions and like pictures and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I'm finding it interesting to see how Jedi in the Star Wars High Republic act without Sith, and how they were before the Sith came back, and like them at their peak. I think it's pretty interesting. So I started reading that. I'm probably gonna finish it, in the next couple days. Other than that, not a whole lot. This was my long week, so I've been working. I jumped back into Trails in the Sky the Third now that I've beaten Jedi Survivor. Bide my time until Final Fantasy 16 comes out. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been up to.
Sweet. Sweet, sweet. My big issue with that High Republic stuff is that I'm just like not familiar with the world at all. And when I say
hmm
that, like when they mention like a spaceship, like so much of Star Wars is like seeing it, right?
hmm
And so I have a really easy time reading anything like post Return of the Jedi, like for those books. I don't think they're like especially good, but when they like mention a ship, I like know what it looks like, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Um,
And so like I was constantly like pausing my reading of this book to like Google what the ship looked like or like what the alien species they were talking about looked like.
and that's kind of what I'm doing with the characters. I'm like every time I'm like I don't remember who this person is. I Googled them. I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand.
Mhm.
Um, but I also read the Kanan comic, which takes place before Star Wars Rebels. It's like a flashback. It's very good. I
Yeah,
subscribed to Marvel Unlimited because I wanted to catch up on some Star Wars comics. So, um, yeah, that was really good. Really, two thumbs up. It doesn't take place before Rebels. Actually, it's like during the first season of Rebels, and then it takes a flashback to Kanan right after Order 66 and shows how he survived. Very good. I mean, I know I stand alone on this mountain, and I'm not unaware of that. But I truly believe that Star Wars Rebels is superior to Star Wars Clone Wars. Um,
agree.
and the character development and stuff, I think it's phenomenal. Star Wars Rebels is like top tier Star Wars in my opinion, and Kanan and Ezra are like phenomenal characters. Um, but yeah,
No, I think the three best like pieces of Star Wars fiction, probably from like the last, I don't know, like let's say what 15 years. I think it's Rebels, probably Rogue One, and then like the VR mission for the first Battlefront game, where you were like
oh,
in an X-wing. I think those three really are the best. I haven't finished Jedi Survivor yet.
I did actually also start playing the Galaxy's Edge VR game on my Oculus Quest.
What do you think about
Pretty good.
that? I was just looking at that the other day.
It's pretty good so far. I mean, like I'm like an hour in, not too much, but the VR stuff is pretty good. It's one of the few VR games where you can turn off teleporting and you can actually walk,
Yeah.
and I find that very fun. But VR, I don't know, man. Until they're able to cut down on the size and weight of those headsets, it gets pretty annoying to me after like 45 minutes.
Had that game on Oculus Quest, I thought it just looked awful. Like I thought the screen dooring on it was really bad.
Mm.
And that was actually one of the first games I got on PlayStation VR 2, which I think is a more comfortable headset and B just a much prettier headset than the Quest.
When you say it's more comfortable, like, could you sit there and watch a movie in VR too?
I think the weight distribution is a problem with Oculus Quest, right? Because it's like all on the front, so you just
hmm
feel
I do
like
agree
it
with
feels
that.
like you're wearing like a scuba mask, right? Like it's because all this pressure just on the front of your face. And I feel like the VR2 does a really good job of balancing it, so you feel like you're wearing a hat more than you feel like you're wearing goggles.
Oh, I see. Yeah, in my opinion, until they can get that down to where they're like just like goggles around your eyes,
Mhm.
I think there's gonna be an issue for me with like I don't want to sit there with that thing like pulling my head down. Now, could you argue that the fix is to buy a second Oculus Quest and put it on the back of your head to balance things out? I mean, Maybe.
So actually,
Yeah.
what some people will do is they will take, and you can find them on Etsy. They have these, you know how you have like the battery packs that you can charge your phone with, like the external
Mhm.
batteries. They'll take those and then they will mount them to the back of the headset to distribute the weight a little more, but also so that they can charge the Quest and give you a longer
That is
battery life.
insane.
That
Yeah.
sounds
That is
awful. I
insane.
do not want like you know how
Yeah.
like how much your crotch hurts when you just have like a laptop on your lap for like
Yeah.
more than 12 minutes. Like can you imagine just like having that on your head? Like that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's too much. Too much.
Yeah, my thing is that like also they're not making really deep games for the VR, and I don't understand why. Like if they want this thing to take off, especially Sony, there's the other people to do this. They have to support it. You know,
Mhm.
I just feel like the last 10 years, all we gotten is really experiences. There's cool experiences like Beat Saber is phenomenal. I think the Vader Immortal games are like really cool. Creed 2 is phenomenal, but you got to give me like a deep experience, like where's like a role playing game or something to like sell me on it, and they don't seem to be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I feel like there are so few in that vein. I mean, I'd say Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is probably the only I could think of that feels like a full-fledged, like, this could be a normal console game, PC game.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are others. I mean, I don't want to discount VR games. I'm sure there are a lot out there, but honestly, like, I forget. Do you remember what that MMO game that came out maybe about a year ago on VR that everybody was talking about? I forget what it was, but they played it off as like this Sword Art Online style, like fantasy
Mm-hmm.
VR MMO. And then people got into it and they were like, well, this is like basically an MMO for babies because it just doesn't really have much to it. So I do wish we had more fleshed out content.
It was Christmas 2 years ago, and I had nothing to do. Like I was like, I want to play something new. I got a ton of PS4 games, but I want to play something new. So I hopped on my Quest, and I bought the Medal of Honor game that came out. I was like, I just want to play a shooter because like I can't even remember the name of it, but there's like one Guy Ritchie inspired like gangster London game on the original PlayStation VR that was so freaking good.
Is it
That I like.
the Getaway?
Not the Getaway, but it feels like the
Okay.
Getaway, but it's like a first person. It's like Time Crisis mixed with a Guy Ritchie movie. It's great. And I was like, yeah, I just want a VR first person shooter. That sounds like a lot of fun. So I bought Medal of Honor. It was so bad. Like it was like a launch PS2 game, but with half as many characters, like just objects on the screen.
Yeah.
Like it was really disappointing. Like at that point, like I'd almost rather have just like a rail shooter because it's like they clearly aren't up to snuff to like build a game with this hardware yet.
Here's what I want us all to do while we're talking about this. We all need to sit down and play Demio together because we played that for like one night. We had
It was good. It was
a
really
ton
good.
of fun with it. We actually played with a good friend of the show, Ray Apollo, and we had a blast. So we all need to sit down. And George, it is on PSVR 2 and it is crossplay with Quest. So we should sit down and all jump into that. I think that'd be a good time.
Speaking my
So-
language now.
George, how is the theater mode in VR2? Like playing games that aren't VR compatible. Is it good? Is it comfortable?
It's comfortable. I don't think it's like exceptionally better than what it was on Quest. But I also haven't given it like a fair shake. Like I
That's
think
like-
I watched an episode of Ted Lasso just to see what it was like.
That's like the number one thing I want from like my VR headset, and I haven't seen anyone that said that any of them are like worth getting into for it yet. Because for me, like just being able to put on a Quest or a VR and like block out any distractions, right?
Mhm.
And just be able to focus on the game sounds incredible. And I just nothing seems to have really done that yet. Well,
I think the worst part about PSVR is the sound, because I don't want to be completely cut off from the world, because like I don't have like the biggest space to play this game, so I want like a little bit of awareness of my surroundings. So I don't want to get like a pair of like noise canceling headsets, like because like that with like visual canceling headset like that sounds like a bad time for my dogs and like the fan I'm playing below, like if I stand up and just like swing my arm or whatever. But like the AirPods things that it comes with, like it's the same thing as the first PlayStation VR, where it's like these little plugins, and it feels like a fucking like airplane headset that you would have gotten like in the late '90s, early 2000s, and so it just sounds like butt. But at the same time, like I don't want to be 1,000% immersed into a game because then I would like have like disassociation problems, and I don't want to deal with that. I only do therapy once a week, you know.
I would love disassociation problems.
So would I.
Oh. Well, I guess
I want to feel like real life is
I know the
Mustafar.
mod community. I know the mod community is pretty deep in VR.
There he
Can
is.
Our fourth
hear me?
wheel, Coach the Kyle Newman. Coach, how's it going?
Good. But have you guys played the Half-Life VR game? Was it Half-Life Alex?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm waiting for that to come to PSVR too. I'm very excited.
And
Is it
then
coming?
there was
Hope so.
Supposedly.
Star Wars Squadrons you could play.
That's actually very good in VR.
Yeah. I tried it a couple months ago on VR and it was awesome. Definitely requires some like VR legs though. Because I could see
What
definitely
VR,
getting sick in that.
What VR headset do you have, Coach?
I have the first one.
PSVR?
No.
The Quest.
Yes.
Oh, good deal.
God, Coach, I haven't heard your voice in so long. Feels good. Feels like a hug in my ears.
Been a minute.
Just a few minutes.
Looking good though. Looking a little shreddy over there.
We've been working out the last 6 weeks at the gym at the school. So there's like 2 other teachers. So as soon as the football team's done, we go in there and we work out. So it's been a good way to get back into it. So and it's our last week of school, so pretty much next week is when I start riding like pretty much every day.
Start showing up on time for a podcast too, or
Yes.
sweet.
I had to go to the bank. I had to go. So, but yes.
Got him. All right. Well, shit, Coach. So happy to see you. Are you guys ready to jump into our topic of the week, which is a look back on 2023 so far?
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna list. I got some tabs here with like the biggest shows, the biggest movies, and the biggest games of 2023. Let's start with games because I forgot some of these games came out this year. You guys ready?
I'm down like a clown.
Let's freaking go,
All right.
George.
January 2023, Fire Emblem Engage. Forgot that was this year.
Wow, that's crazy. That does feel
Feels
like
like
it was
two-
like a
Feels
last
like
fall.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Coolgate.
Kind of, yeah.
I didn't grab that one.
I need to buy it before it goes up in price because you know it's going to. Next game, Forspoken. Again, forgot that game was this year.
I will play Forspoken at some point when it's like $20, I think.
I played the demo. I will play that game when it's $10.
$10. Oh geez, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think the demo was anything to write home about. It was really pretty, and I didn't have a problem with like the spunky sidekick thing, the sassy wrist watch thing that talked to the main character. I didn't have a problem with that. I just thought the game world was boring as hell.
Yeah. Well, there's a really large theory that they used the leftover unused assets from Final Fantasy 15 in it. Because in Final Fantasy 15, there's actually a whole other continent that is modeled and pretty much just empty. And they didn't use it. They cut it all out, but it's still in the game, like the base game files. And people have broken the invisible walls and gone and explored it. Really interesting YouTube videos about like all the unused content in 15. But the trailer for Forspoken has like topography very similar to Final Fantasy 15's world. Like the giant like ring sticking out of the clouds. That is straight from 15.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that think that that's possibly that other continent. I haven't played Forspoken. I can't speak to the legitimacy of it, but I think it's an interesting theory.
And
It's
it's
the same
cool that
developer.
cool that they were able to like, you know, not waste that time, but God, the world just sucks. Like there's just like nothing there. It seems so barren and lifeless.
Well, that also sounds like Final Fantasy 15 as well.
That's a great point. But at least there was a fucking sweet car in that game.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
true.
know if it was sweet. It was okay.
That was the one they did end up adding that car into Forza Horizon, right? Or am I totally misremembering that? I
don't
think they
know.
did.
Feels right.
Yeah.
February 2023, Hogwarts Legacy. Did anyone play that?
I played the first 5 or so hours of it, and then I was having a race in the Kaseki games with Pedro and had to put it down. But I
Who
liked what
won?
I played with Hogwarts Legacy.
Who won?
I think
Who won the
Pedro did.
race? Oh, bitch.
I pulled ahead for quite a while, and then I went on vacation. And Pedro beat 2 games the time I went to vacation. I came back and he like just laughed at me.
Hold on. He beat 2 games in 2 weeks? 200-hour games in 2 weeks. Just to clarify.
No, so the ones he beat are like 40-hour games.
Okay.
So like
Still.
like he thought he was gonna be cheeky,
Man.
right? Because he knew I wasn't gonna have time to play. So he's like, I'm the king of Seki once again. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. It was, and now he's all caught up, and now I feel like emasculated. So, anyway, yeah, Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's cool for Harry Potter fans. And I think there's it's at the worst, it's an average game for everybody else. The combat is my biggest gripe with it because these enemies just have like these shields that come up in different colors, and they force you to use different spells to counter those shields, and it doesn't feel like Harry Potter whatsoever. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, how could you make Harry Potter combat in any way interesting? Because the combat in that universe doesn't even make sense, right? In my opinion, you can pick Harry Potter's universe apart with like second grade logic, but
Yeah, I remember like when one of the movie tie-in games came out, it just looked like Gears of War. Like it was just like a cover-based shooter with like Harry and Hermione and them like against like Death Eaters or whatever.
Yeah. I think the coolest part about Hogwarts Legacy is exploring and seeing the castle and like Hogsmeade. And one thing I will say is that the Hogwarts castle might be the most detailed object in video game history. Like the amount of work they put into Hogwarts Castle. It's not one of these like quick travel, like you just go from place to place. Like every corner of that castle is explorable. And it is really, really interesting to just walk around and be like, what's going on over here? It's a life-size castle that you can just walk around and explore, and it's really cool. Same for Hogsmeade. Hogsmeade is like really interesting and full of life. I think it's a real shame that game got caught up in all the controversy. And it sucks for those developers a lot because they didn't really they had nothing to do with it because they did create like a phenomenal work of art with Hogwarts Legacy, and I do wish the characters were a little more interesting because I would have stuck with it. I'll probably go back to it someday.
Cool. Next up, Wild Hearts. Did anyone play that? That was like EA's
I never ended
version
up
of
playing
Monster
that.
Hunter.
Yeah, I never ended up playing that. It looked really good. I don't think it reviewed like crazy well. I think it got a lot of 7s, but at some point I do want to try it out. I think that game's on Game Pass. I could be wrong, so maybe that's the way to go about testing it out at some point.
Cool. Next up, Atomic Heart, like the BioShock game set in like Russia with robots.
I wanted to play this really bad. It reminded me a lot of BioShock, but everyone said how incredibly annoying it was. Like the character was just so annoying that they couldn't take it.
I heard that too.
It really bummed me out. And even like I like reviewer, something's like 100% like accurate when reviewers on every side of the spectrum say the same exact thing. They're like, this writing is atrocious and it completely rips you out of the game. I'm like, I'll probably just not play that.
That's a probably a $30 game for me, just because I feel like I haven't played like a good meaty first person shooter in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I tried playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 last night or the other night, and it just didn't hit the same the way I wanted it to.
Judas is coming out, buddy, at some point. That's exciting.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Ken Levine game.
Yeah.
It looks just like BioShock.
Yeah, cool. That game will come out in 10 years. Can't wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Next up, Horizon Call of the Mountain. I think I'm the only person here with a PSVR 2. I haven't played that game yet. Bought the bundle that comes with it. I got really caught up in Moss and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Let's see. Company of Heroes 3. I don't think anyone here has an opinion on that. Right?
No.
Not a lot of RTS heads here. Sons of the Forest. I don't think anyone here played that.
I played the first Forest.
Yeah, I haven't played it, but I did play the first Forest, and I really liked it. So, and Andy played like a crap load of the first game. So at some point, I do want to try the second one out. It looks good.
Okay.
The first one's good.
See, Kerbal Space Program 2 coming to early access. That's whatever. Octopath Traveler 2.
Dude,
I haven't played it yet.
I keep seeing this game because it's like now it's hitting $40 everywhere as of like this past week. I keep seeing cheap ass gamer like tweet out like, hey, it's in Wario 64. Hey, it's on sale for 40 on all platforms. And I'm like, oh man, I really want to play this. I don't have time for it right now with Zelda and Diablo and Final Fantasy. So at some point, but it does look really good. I never played the first one.
Oh, very good. Don't play them for the gameplay, the classic turn-based gameplay. Don't play them expecting like a crazy deep story.
Yeah.
But the art and the gameplay, solid. The weird thing about Octopath Traveler is you get the most interesting characters in RPGs you can imagine, and they're very one stereotyped characters. But they all join a party together, but they do not interact, and they all have their own stories. Very strange way to do
That's
things,
interesting.
but that's what really turned me off from the first game. And apparently it's like that in the second game as well, which is why I didn't buy it. But I have the Octopath Traveler Collector's Edition back there. That's pretty cool.
Isn't it a pretty meaty, like 60, 80 hour game?
Yeah, I don't know how long it is. I didn't beat it, but I would assume so. Most RPGs are.
That's why I've been playing Grandia on my Switch, because it is not an 80-hour RPG. And also, I never played it. I told you guys, it's going to be Summer of JRPGs. I do really want to check out Octopath. I got that, and I got Octopath Traveler 2 while it was on sale. And I also grabbed Live Alive. Is that how you pronounce that game's name?
Live Live.
Live Alive. Okay.
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, JRPG Summer, also sun-dried tomatoes, golden barbecue sauce, and want to get into pickling. I wasn't lying when I listed off all those things 3 episodes ago.
Weird choices from you, George.
Well, I really want to enjoy summer. You know, talking to my therapist. It turns out I might have like a little seasonal affective disorder because winter really kicked my ass this year. So I'm going to get out and enjoy summer.
I need to pick a few things.
About the pickling.
Not talking about the pickling?
I'm talking about the JRPG choices.
Oh.
So
yeah,
you're playing Grandia, Octopath. You want to play Octopath Traveler, and you picked up Live Alive. Live
Alive, yeah. I did pre-order Final Fantasy 16 also, and I wanted to check out those pixel remasters for the Final Fantasy games, but I'm not paying full price for those. Waiting for
So are you a big Final Fantasy guy? Have you played the other Final Fantasies?
We talked about this a bunch. I played a lot of 3 on PSP. Yeah. I beat 5 on PSP years ago, like on the PlayStation Classic. That's pretty much it. I got like 30 hours into Final Fantasy X, and like I loved everything about that game, but I just haven't touched it in so long that I like need to restart that game.
I recommend pounding out some of those pre-PS1 RPGs because they're short. So you can beat Chrono Trigger in like 15 hours. So okay. I would recommend that. Secrets of Evermore, Secrets of Mana, Final Fantasy VI. A lot of those like SNES games aren't too long. So you can try them, and then PS1 RPGs, Xenogears, the Final Fantasy trilogy. They're all phenomenal games.
Little front mission action.
Little front mission. I would, yeah. That's more of a strategy game though, right? Final Fantasy Tactics, if you're looking for a strategy game, you know. What else I got on the shelf over there? I don't know. I could list 1,000 of them, but yeah, pick a few RPGs and dive in there, buddy. Just weird to start out with Grandia. It's kind of an obscure game.
I just love the aesthetic for it, and I got such like a Y2K era boner. Frankly, I just love everything from like the turn of the century. I think that shit is so cool and fascinating, especially Sega at that time.
I also love Y2K and I love boners. So
perfect, man. We're gonna have so much fun this summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see, March, Wolong Fallen Dynasty.
Game looks dope.
Yeah, I never played it, but it does look really, really good.
I watched a lot of streams of it. It's a very pretty game.
Yep.
These Far East Asian developers, very pretty, beautiful action games they're coming out with.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing it this year, especially. I feel like maybe a little bit last year. We're seeing a lot of blow up from Chinese and Korean studios, and I like that.
Well, this was Team Ninja.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was okay.
Well, still East Asian.
Southeast Asian. But I
Yeah,
thought this
but
was like.
this is from the Neo team.
Was it funded by a Chinese?
I think you're thinking of a different game that was shown off at Summer Games Fest last year, right?
I think I know what you're talking about.
A big Jeff Keighley trailer it was just like, holy shit.
Pedro said
this game looked this good.
Pedro said, "Team Ninja, you muppet." There you go.
No. I'm thinking of the Monkey King game. I thought this was the Monkey King game.
This was
Sun
not.
Goku
No.
Monkey game. I think I'm right. If you guys are right, I'm mixing this up with fuck. All right, continue.
That's embarrassing for you.
That is,
You hot idiot.
yeah.
Let's see. Next up, Bayonetta Origins, Syriza and the Lost Demon.
I didn't play it.
Something from you? Big Switch head?
Well, I'm just going through, just listening to your games that you got it, that you're listing right now.
Okay.
But I got a little list. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Okay. You didn't play Bayonetta Origins, though?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't play Bayonetta.
I heard it was very good though, which surprised me because it looked visually. I was a little like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be that good of a game, but I heard it was actually like excellent.
I grabbed this one. This one was also on sale, and I feel like this is one of those games that's just going to become so fucking expensive on Switch, right? Like out of nowhere.
Yeah, probably. Just in case anyone's listening and is curious, the game I was thinking of was Black Myth Wukong. It's coming out next year.
I feel like that was the one from Games Fest last year. Also, Games Fest is coming up, right?
Summer Games Fest is usually in
It's like in a week.
June.
It's like in a week or two, I think.
You guys want to do a live stream for that?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, a game I think all of you care about. I don't. Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Well, I care about it, but at the same time, I didn't play it because I'm so far behind on Resident Evil. I never played the remake of 3, and I never played 8, so I'm like just totally behind right now on that franchise. But I do want to play it at some point. It does look really good. I'm honestly though, I'm less inclined to play that than I am 3 and 8 because 4, like, I don't know, the original 4 still holds up pretty well to me. So it looks good, but I feel like I was less excited about this one than like the remake of 2, for example.
Gotcha. See, any that I missed from quarter one? Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. That game was excellent.
Very good game.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. Yeah.
I never played that before.
Did you finish it, Austin? Did you and Andy finish it?
No, we got about halfway through it. We need to go back to it. But honestly, that's probably the best co-op Kirby game that I've played.
Oh, it's co-op.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pick that up and play with Caitlin. And she loves Kirby.
It's really good. It's really good.
You're not playing as like a Waddle Dee, right?
Yeah, all 4 people can be Kirby's, which is wonderful.
And that's Return to Dreamland, or is that the one that just not really shadow drop, but they announced on Twitter? It was like post-apocalyptic. That was
Forgotten Land.
Forgotten Land was excellent. I played so many Kirby games this year while we were on hiatus.
When is quarter one over? Are you still in Q1 games?
Yeah, I'm still in quarter one. Quarter one is about to end because we're about to jump into April. But then let's see.
All right.
The other ones I missed: Darkest Dungeon 2, Like a Dragon, Ishin, and One Piece Odyssey. I think are still like the biggest ones we haven't talked about yet.
No, haven't played any of those.
Me either.
God, I didn't play anything this year so far.
Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot. There are some coming up too.
Just played like 19 different Kirby games. It's been
jumping
sick.
into Kaseki games all year.
Also, I beat Pokemon Snap 64.
So did I.
Yeah,
loved it.
The game's great. The game is
so
still
good.
Great. Dead Island 2. Anyone play that?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
Here's one I really care about: Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I am so close to being done.
What do you wait? So close? Like, give me
we were talking. I just got a big platforming ability, and I was on Jeddah for a second time.
Yeah, the big green platforming ability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're pretty close.
I feel like that is going to piss me off to no end because, like, I love video games. I'm not going to pretend I'm very good at them, but that sequence I thought was riveting. I thought that was like some of the most fun video game stuff I've played in a long time.
So cool. Why did they save all the cool stuff for the end of that game? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But like that game, it makes me so happy. Have we talked about this? Do in your head canon have Marin and Cal have they banged out? Have they reined it in?
In mine, they have.
In yours, they
Coach,
have. Yeah.
Oh,
Coach,
yeah.
did you beat Survivor?
Yes. No, not Survivor.
Oh,
Fallen
well,
Order,
yeah. I mean, come on, buddy, you got to get in there.
I'm just first I'm gonna wait.
You think the sexual tension's thick in Fallen Order? You wait till you get to Survivor, my guy.
They absolutely have. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
She was comfortable putting her head on his shoulder, and they were sleeping together and stuff like that, and they fell asleep like babies together. I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
You say they're sleeping together. I mean, we're already there.
Like, literally.
I mean,
they made a nice little cozy fire, and like they I'm like, come on. They were talking for a solid 5 minutes. They lay down together. I'm like, you guys.
Hard part's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to play more of that game. I think I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but I'm only like maybe 2 hours, 3 hours in because it came out literally like 2 days before we went on our Disney trip. And then basically the second we got back, Tears of the Kingdom came out. So I have not gone back to it, but at some point I want to. I was going to say I did beat, not a game that came out this year, but I did beat Fallen Order earlier this year leading into Jedi Survivor, and thoroughly enjoyed the ending of that game. Really glad I went back to it and finished it up.
I would argue that the Jedi Survivor ending is 3 times as good.
Nice.
Really?
As Fallen Order. And that says a lot because I thought that whole last planet in Fallen Order was phenomenal.
Yep.
But the last 10% of Survivor, like once you start getting to like the last act of the game, it just ramps up. I think I talked about this when I beat it, but like I wish that level of storytelling had been throughout the whole game, and like those beats. Like George, you're pretty much into the final act now. You should just bang it out, man, because once you start, you're not gonna want to stop.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna do after this. The Celtics lost last night, so I will watch the NBA Finals, but I will not care about the NBA Finals. I will have them on my iPad probably while I play stuff on my TV. Man, I remember being on this podcast a few years ago saying like I don't give a shit about story in games. Like that's not why I play games. I just want like the tactile feeling and like responsiveness. You know, I think like I was playing like Spyro at the time. I was like, this is just fun. I don't care about the story. And like you guys were talking about like deep narratives and all that stuff. And then I played Fallen Order. I'm like, this story is so much better than this game. Like I feel like I have to like I'm forcing myself to play this game to get what I think is like not an immaculate Star Wars story, but a pretty freaking good Star Wars story.
So, what do you think about the Survivor story so far?
I'm having so much more fun with this game than the first game. Like, I think the story is excellent, and I think the story has made me give a shit about High Republic, even though I haven't found a single piece of High Republic fiction that I actually enjoy consuming yet.
That's why I'm reading the book. I'm like, I gotta figure out what's going on here to understand this story more. Yeah. Which is, I'm sure they wanted, right?
Coach, sorry, you haven't started Jedi Survivor yet? You're saving that for summer?
Okay, yes. No, I'm saving it for the end of the year. Couple reasons. One is I'm just burnt out. Like I got the platinum for Jedi Fallen Order earlier this year, and it was like a collectathon from hell. And it was like it wasn't even fun. So I just kind of want to take a long break from it. But knowing that it came out in the condition that it was, I will gladly wait until Black Friday to pick that up so that the devs can go ahead and fix it up.
You and Austin say that like the game like wasn't running well. I noticed nothing with that game. Like I noticed like maybe 2 frame skips the entire time. It's like, oh, he said the name of the show. But like there was like a few times where I think I was like blocking something, like when there was a lot going on in the game. And then it chugged twice, maybe the entire time I played it.
The issue for me was that it chugged on performance mode and not quality mode. When you switch it to quality mode, it was almost a solid 30 frames per second, which my brain can kind of adapt to. But in performance mode, it was like 60, 40, 20, 60. You know, it was just all over the place. And I couldn't handle it in performance mode. Once I switched to quality, I was like, this is fine. I can handle this. I played 30 FPS games for my whole life, pretty much. But they released a patch. I forget when I texted you guys a couple weeks ago. The performance mode is solid now. Like I switched it to that and didn't have a single problem with the rest of the game. But
yeah, they that was my issue, like the just total inconsistency. And my understanding of that is they have locked ray tracing on, which those consoles just cannot handle. I mean, those consoles were not built to run ray tracing at 4K, 60 frames per second. So
Yeah.
I think that's why the performance mode, frankly, is so rough, because they're normally in performance modes in games nowadays, they'll disable ray tracing so that they can hit that 60 frames per second. And they just refuse to do that for some reason. It was very odd. So, but I do want to go back and try the performance mode. I did still have some issues with quality though. I don't, what's the planet where you first go and meet Grease, the like kind of hub world?
Kobo.
Kobo.
That planet still ran like absolute shit for me, even on quality mode. I mean, it was still hitting like 20 frames, but I mean, I guess it's better than like a 35, 60 back and forth nonstop. But to be fair, that was like a month ago, so I don't know how it's changed since then.
It is dark out. The sun is down, and my neighbor has started mowing his lawn. I'm getting so annoyed. Like, what are you doing, dude?
At 9 o'clock at night?
Yeah, like he started his lawnmower up when we started the podcast, and he's mowing his lawn right now. I hear him going back around the window. I'm like, shut it off. It's too late. Can you guys hear it, the mic?
We're talking about no. We're talking about Star Wars right now. You got a few lightsabers. I mean, just go out there and freaking hack that guy
so
up.
Annoying.
Is it? Wait, hold on. Is this the guy that like, we were talking about you really appreciating because he mows your lawn?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
This is across the street.
Okay.
Okay.
So
fuck that guy.
So from this point on, now that games are 70, which I don't mind it going up. I mean, eventually it was going to go up anyways. And the next gen systems or the current gen systems, we shouldn't be having these issues, right? I mean,
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Totally agree.
So that's why I'm like, I didn't have that desire to rush out and get it. Plus, like Austin said, like as soon as you guys got back, it was time for Tears of the Kingdom. So
I have a real feeling. I have a real feeling that this console generation could have been pushed back like 2 years, and they could have beefed up these consoles a little more, because it seems like nothing runs well on them, and I don't understand what's going on. Like,
well, it's weird because we started off okay, but I mean, are we 2.5 years into these systems? I don't even know how long it's been at this point.
3
yeah,
years,
most games have been cross-gen though.
Yeah, 3 years.
You know,
yeah.
I don't get it, man. I mean, even like Hogwarts Legacy didn't run well either. It didn't chug, but like
it also just came out on like PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
I'm just so tired of it, man. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of these companies putting the freaking apology JPEGs up. Like it worked for CD Projekt Red 10 years ago. All right, we're done with it now. Stop apologizing, because you guys knew the game was broken when you gave it to us. You knew it. I don't need an apology for when you specifically spit in my face on purpose. So like, I'm sick of it. They made a good game.
Right. This is the only consumer outlet where a company could put out a trash game that is broke and not say a word, so people will not pull their pre-orders out. Yeah. And that is so wrong. Like, I hate politicians, but we need a politician to come in here, or we need some lawyers to come in here and do something about that, because that is fundamentally wrong to do that.
Yeah,
like a consumer protection bureau for
that's like a whole podcast that we could do, George.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, I
that's not sarcastic. I meant it. That does sound like fun.
I agree. I'm tired of it, man. I'm so tired of getting broken games on release that they knew were broken, and they put up their stupid JPEG. It's like, we're deeply sorry, we're working on it. It's like, no, I don't care, man. I'm over it.
Well, and look, I'm more forgiving, frankly, if it's like an indie studio or like a smaller team. But like when you've got people like EA releasing games in the state that this game released in, and even going back to CD Projekt Red, I mean, it's totally unacceptable. I mean, clearly, like hundreds of people have played that game at that point. They knew. My
favorite is like hearing about all the fucking testers who got like laid off or whatever, right? Like all the QA people.
Totally.
And it's like, these games are releasing in a shitty state. I do think it's funny though, like you guys didn't care about how broken Scarlet and Violet were, right?
I
Well,
kind of did. I mean, I mentioned it
sorry.
to you guys.
Sorry, I was specifically talking about Seth and Austin because I know how much they love
Oh.
that
well,
game.
I don't. If I remember correctly, we weren't recording the podcast at the time.
We weren't. No, this is just from private
but
conversations where we had
the-
intimate sharing.
Yeah. The thing is that I expect that level of crap from a Switch Pokemon game, and then it's not saying that. Like the Scarlet and Violet, I thought were really fun. It's the classic Pokemon formula, but like, dude, when you were walking towards a mountain or a hill, you could see the texture warp in that
Yeah.
game, and it was really off-putting.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Game Freak doesn't care. First off, I don't think they have I've said it for like a decade. I don't think Game Freak has the ability to make your giant 3D Pokemon game that everyone wants. And also, dude, they know that like even if they put out a giant piece of turd, it is going to be the best selling game of the year. They
10
know
million
it.
in like 5 minutes. They sold,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't matter because Pokemon is so huge. Do I have a problem with them releasing that game broken? Yeah. Do I think that like if we put it on PS5, would it run probably fine? Yeah, I think it would probably run fine. I think it's just the Switch has issues, man. And it's an old console, and I desperately want Nintendo to put out something of power at this point in my life, right? Like Xenoblade 3 and Xenoblade 2 and 3 actually have these beautiful worlds that are not using anti-aliasing whatsoever. And it is jarring. When you look at Xenoblade 3 and play it, it's ugly, even though the artwork and the direction is beautiful. And then if you emulate it on your computer, the game is gorgeous because the Switch is running it at such low internal resolution that like it looks terrible, man. And it's sad because the Switch is what 8 years old almost.
7, right?
I
Came out in
they
17. Came out in 17, so 3,
Yeah.
6.
6
So
right
6
now.
years.
I think, and to be fair, I think games that are only using like a 2D plane, like Nintendo's, bread and butter, like their Mario games, their Kirby games, they look great. They're like they're totally fine. But when you take that and put it in a giant 3D world, you're gonna run into issues because the Switch just can't handle it. And
Well-
I would love, dude, for Nintendo to come back and be like, slam it on the table and be like, here's our console that's 1.5 times more powerful than your PS5. Suck on that, Sony.
Well, that's
You
what
know?
was frustrating. Like, I think of like the GameCube as a recent console. I know that's like age bias because like that was just such a cool moment for me. But like,
Yeah.
it had more horsepower than the PlayStation 2 did.
Yeah, and the games are
Yeah, like-
gorgeous.
The
Because
games
it
look
came out
better
a
than
year
PlayStation.
after, like a year after.
Oh yeah, but still, like it had more under the hood than that.
I will
But
say,
It's okay.
Coach, go
No,
ahead.
no. Yeah.
So what I was going to say, just to piggyback off Seth about the Scarlet and Violet, like I was put off, but, and I know it's open world, but they nailed the look and the gameplay and everything for Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. Like if you go play that, that looks like that's a nice, I mean, it is polished
Different
for,
developer.
right. Was it? It wasn't Game Freak?
I think they were involved, but they used their like B team or something. Whoever made
Yeah.
So like they have like a B team or something along those lines. I remember this story, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were made by that team. I can't
Because
find.
I mean, those games look good, you know.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
But Arceus, that they didn't have issues with that as much, did they? Like I don't remember hearing like major things about it, and it was semi-open world, wasn't it?
yeah.
So I just think Game Freak should have done what Nintendo did with Tears of the Kingdom. Like it was done a year ago. They just polished it up for a year. They just
well, that's what
kept it in the oven and just ironed it all out.
that's what they've been doing with Final Fantasy 16. That game apparently was done like forever
Yeah.
ago, and they're just, which is like insane, dude. Yoshi P might have made a pact with the devil. All right. like,
Yeah. I was just gonna
When does
say
that game come out? June what? 12th?
22nd.
22nd.
We're getting
Okay.
there, you guys. We still got
Okay,
to go
sorry.
through May.
Sorry, George.
No, it's
Sorry,
cool. We spent
sorry.
all this time talking about that game. I was like, I thought we were going to talk about a different game. Redfall came out May 2023. They like gave this game to me for free on Game Pass. I couldn't have been bothered to download it. In fact, I think I'm actually going to cancel Game Pass.
Speaking
I might get it
of-
for, like,
I
a
already took
month.
the plunge.
I'm going to do it for a month when Starfall comes out just to see if that's any good. So
You know, we were
Starfall,
just
That was
talking
cool.
about games releasing in a poor state. That's another one. That's another one.
And it like
next-
just shot itself. Like it's dead right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Back 4 Blood seemed to have like a longer runway than Redfall.
Have you
did.
have you guys seen the videos of the AI in that game and just how just abysmal it is? It's like awful. It's like you've got these enemy characters that are just waddling around, making no attempt to attack you, even when you're shooting them. They're just kind of there. It looks so bad. So bad.
Yeah, and there's no excuse for that in 2023 when that's been like a gameplay standard for what 15 years now.
Yeah.
After that, we got Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Is this everyone's game of the year so far?
For sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Coach, are you
I have,
playing
like-
or are you waiting till summer?
No, I'm playing. I have like 55 hours in,
Oh, damn.
and I still haven't done the first boss yet. There is so much to do. I mean, we could probably have our own episode just on that. So I'm not gonna bore everybody to death.
I will say the game impresses me. I think it's really cool. I think the creativity that people put into this game is like really neat.
The shooting
just-
penis.
It's just not for me, dude. The Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, not my jive.
That might
Twilight Princess, you give me Twilight Princess, I'm there. Not a Breath of the Wild or 2 guy.
Yeah, this
You know-
game to me, it's been really impressive, especially when you compare it to something like Scarlet and Violet, which is just, you know, I love those games too, but they are totally broken and hideous, frankly. So it's amazing to see what the Switch can do, you know, when a talented team is put behind a game. Because Breath of the Wild, or I should say Tears of the Kingdom, really does feel like something that should not work on the Switch. I mean, it is so much more expansive than Breath of the Wild was. I mean, it's basically double the size of that game, which is nuts that they're able to fit that much on a cartridge.
So I know this is an aside, but do you guys remember cloud computing and how they claimed that was going to be like revolutionary and how that never came about?
Azure, right? From
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, you know, it's okay that our console. Well, this wasn't Nintendo. This is actually Xbox. They're like, it's okay that our console's not as powerful because we got the cloud computing. Where were they talking about?
that they like referenced that directly for what was it, Crackdown 3?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and then brother.
I think the only game that's actually worked in is Flight Sim, where they use the cloud to like have the entire map of the world in it. But I haven't seen a single other game that operates successfully with the cloud.
Such a bummer, man. Like, I just think about the original Xbox and how just like fucking cool that system was. Like, how there's just so many games that just like had a vibe to it, and like it. Like, I don't want to be rude when I say this, but like, dude, where are the games? Like where are the Xbox like definitive? Like, where's like the stamp of approval about like, no, this is what we're about? Like, it's fucking Forza, and that's it.
Well,
Like,
So
all
did you
Gears-
see?
All
Gears
the
is
respect to
still
Halo
good.
Infinite, but like, it wasn't it. You know?
Did you see the Summer Game Fest tweet that
No.
came out like yesterday? So they did a Summer Games Fest tweet, and it had a bunch of games that really got me feeling this Microsoft presence at Summer Games Fest. And I can't find it. Over here. They have Fable listed there, Avowed, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Perfect Dark in this thumbnail. And I'm like, that sounds pretty dope. But I swear to God, if I do not get an Avowed release date, I will take Microsoft down myself.
Oh, we talked about this before, where it's like, dude, that game was announced like 3 years ago.
Yes.
And like Fable was announced 3 years ago, and
Like,
it's just like,
Man.
don't fucking say anything if it's like not gonna happen. Like, I don't want to be like dark or dour, but like, how many people have like died like waiting for that game, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Seriously.
That's true.
It's such a long time. Like, at least like when Fallout 4 came out, like it came out 4 months after they announced it.
That's the way to do it, man. I love that
Yeah.
shit. I swear to God, though, if we don't get a release date, I'm sure up to Bill Gates' mansion, we're boxing,
Yeah.
and I'm taking him down. Or maybe he defeats me. You never know. He seems squirrely.
He's so old. You got it. Let's see what else. Today it looks like the System Shock remake came out.
Never played them.
Yeah, me neither. And for June, I'm so excited. This is June looks stacked, man. Street Fighter 6, Diablo
Dude.
4, Final Fantasy 16. What a month.
Diablo and Street Fighter reviews, I think, both just dropped today, and both of those games are getting stellar reviews, which is awesome.
Here's my watch out of 2023. All right.
Yeah.
Pedro claims. Pedro, it might still be in the chat listening. Pedro claims he's not buying Street Fighter 6.
Oh,
all right.
No, he's buying
I know
Street
he's
Fighter
gonna
6.
buy it. He tells me every day that he's not buying it. And I know he's gonna crack and buy it, and he's gonna like show up to my house one of these days with Street Fighter 6, and he's gonna make me relive the torture that he put me through, and I'm not having it. So Seth Slakehouse might be buying Street Fighter 6 and start training. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, taking the mantle back from Pedro.
I'll never beat him, but I can go down swinging.
Okay.
Dude, he's the Kaseki king. You gotta like come back on him somehow.
I know. Like, so like I don't know if you guys ever heard this story, but like the whole reason that I started playing this Kaseki series, right? Because I bought it on PS3. I have the collector's edition on PS3, and then I didn't really ever play it. And then I started playing it when I was living with Pedro, and he saw me playing it or something, and then he went and started playing it and didn't tell me. And I was talking to him the one day, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not really feeling Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel." He goes, "Well, I beat it," and I'm like, "Okay." All right, that's how it is, man. All right. So then I forced myself through that horrible first game, which actually would have been fun if I'd played the other ones, but that's a whole other side.
I assume it would have been fun if you weren't playing it out of spite.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, so I started jumping into a whole RPG series out of a rivalry, and that I've lost. So I'm a broken man.
Look at that.
Still believe in you.
What a sad state to live in.
It wasn't just games though. I want to quickly talk about some other stuff. TV, I think, has been kind of excellent this year, right?
Okay, tell me about it.
All right, did you guys watch a show called Rabbit Hole?
Nope.
Kiefer Sutherland led espionage, a million twists a minute. It feels like Jack Bauer's back.
Sounds good.
And I say that having only watched 2 episodes because my girlfriend watched it way too fucking fast, and I couldn't keep up with her. That 90s show was okay. I'm not gonna pretend it was the greatest thing. I'm not gonna pretend it was the worst thing either.
We have to support Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah, and Mila Kunis. Absolutely. Let's see what else. Shrinking, season 1. Did you guys watch that on Apple TV?
No.
Jason Segel plays a therapist. Harrison Ford is his boss, and Jason Segel just has like kind of a mental breakdown and just starts like giving his patients like real advice as opposed to just like therapist advice. Excellent fucking show. Cannot recommend it enough. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking through. Mandalorian season 3. I really liked it. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I think I came out more
it.
positive after a few weeks of kind of stewing on it. I still think it's the weakest season, but I still really dug it overall.
I liked it, and that's as much as it'll get from me. I liked it. I thought it was
Is it canon?
Average.
Is it canon?
Yeah, of course it is. Post 2012.
Coach, is it canon?
To me, it is. However, I mean, it started off good, then it just kind of like it was bumpy, and then it ended up good. Like they could have made it just 4 episodes, the first 2 and the last 2, and it would have been good.
I just want to know what's happening behind the scenes at this Lucasfilm, dude. Because like, how did they take the 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett not have Boba Fett in them at all. And those 2 episodes clearly should have been in The Mandalorian. And then they take The Mandalorian and have this one episode dedicated to Dr. Pershing or whatever.
Wasted an
And
episode.
it was way too much. I just, that episode was pretty boring, and I just feel like I didn't get anything out of it. But I just, something tells me they're moving towards like a specific direction, trying to possibly fix the sequel trilogy. And I just don't think, we've talked about it before, I just don't think it's gonna happen, because this dude is the cloning guy, right? So he's like trying to work on like probably Snoke's cloning eventually, and I'm like, I'm not feeling it, man. I don't know that, like, this is where I'm kind of hoping that I can disconnect from the movies with The Mandalorian. That's kind of what I want. And you know, every once in a while I get a cameo appearance from Luke Skywalker. I'm cool with that. But I don't really want to tie it in overall to the movies, especially like the sequel trilogy, you know? I just kind of
So my theory on why it was so mediocre is because I believe Filoni is going 100% on Ahsoka. So he wasn't hands-on as much.
yeah, he wrote every episode, the writing credits that leaked.
Did he?
Yeah.
For Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's kind of being leaked. I don't know how true it is, but Kathleen Kennedy and Favreau are button heads. But Boba Fett was Favreau's thing. So that should have been a 10 out of 10, and it wasn't, right? To me, the first 2 episodes, amazing. One of the best Star Wars written material out there. And then it just another drop off.
Everyone complains about that fucking biker scene, and I'm so sick
do.
of hearing that.
Dude.
Yeah, okay. So
What?
there was one scene you didn't like, so the entire show sucks at. Like,
No.
I don't get it. Like,
No. But that stands out as the worst scene of the show to me.
Let me
For
just
sure.
say, as somebody that had Mario Kart Wii 140 as my username for 10 years, that just, it didn't represent us
forgot
that well.
about that, bro.
It did not represent us very well as Mario Kart fans. That's all I've got to say.
all right.
George, can I at least explain my point? Because you're very defensive of this, and I understand why. But I'm on your side with
it
the
was
Star
the
Wars
Godfather
fandom.
in space. I thought it was fucking rad. I agree that scene wasn't great. Like, I get it, but also like I'm not gonna let that one scene like put me in a sour enough mood where I'm just looking for the negative aspects every scene thereafter. Where like everyone I knew was tracing the cord back to that one fucking scene, being
Yeah.
like, oh man, just waiting for it to be shitty like this again.
And that kind of thing annoys me too. But what I will say about the Book of Boba Fett is that his motivations as a character don't really make sense to me when you have followed Boba Fett all this time. So like it was really annoying. I'm like, why are you staying on Tatooine? What do you have here? There's nothing, right? And then 2 episodes of that show were dedicated to the Mandalorian, arguably the best episodes of that show. And then the biker thing, and I just didn't think anything memorable really happened in that entire season. You know, I think the episodes that we got of Boba Fett in The Mandalorian were more iconic Boba Fett episodes than anything that happened his entire show. Like when I think about the Book of Boba Fett, right? And I'm a pretty hardcore Star Wars nerd. I really don't remember anything that happened in that show at all, other than him like becoming a crime lord and riding a Rancor at the end. So I'm like, I don't. And then that biker scene sticks out because it was so bad, and I think that's what people remember. But as far as the biker scene for me goes, yeah, it was an episode, and the bikes looked pristine on a planet that was all sand, which doesn't make sense. But I don't know, man. It stuck out. It sticks out really bad.
Everything was fucking gray and drab and shitty, and like clearly that was all they cared about was like their bikes and like themselves, because they were like the modders, right? Like they were cyberpunk people, and so it was like the only fucking form of expression, the only thing that was allowed to be bright and not pink or burnt in the sun. It's like I'm sick of, like, again, you're right that was like the like literally the like brightest, most flamboyant element of just like, that's a decision you made, that's a choice. And so it is the first thing that comes to mind. But also, like, I don't know. Like I don't understand the people who like let that salt their thing. Cause like I really think people checked out at that scene and
Yeah.
then just rode the bike all downhill and then just like we're so eager to point out other things. Like I had a blast. I thought Fennec Shan was fucking amazing in that show.
Fennec Shan's cool.
I love seeing like the reverse like not silver samurai, reverse seven samurai where like they were basically just like getting like kind of all the shit heels, like all the anti-heroes together, right? Because like you had Black Tan, like Cade Bane or Cad Bane was like in that show.
That was
like,
actually a cool reference. Yeah, that was cool. I forgot about that. My thing is that I think they messed up years ago and they gave all of Boba Fett's cool attributes to
Mandalorian.
Jin. Yeah. So they can't just do that again with Boba Fett because they'd be like, well, now we have the two of the same character. So they slightly altered Boba Fett's character, and now, in my opinion, he doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere.
I disagree. That's what the first 2 episodes were about when he went on that fucking vision quest from the Tusken Raiders.
Sure,
like
but now they're all dead.
Okay, but like now he's like the last person to experience that version of it. So like I think that's why he felt compelled to stay on Tatooine. You know,
right? But that's what I'm saying though. Like, what's he doing now, right? Because Book of Boba Fett's done. He clearly doesn't want to be with the Mandalorians. They kind of treated him badly the last time we saw him. They called him I don't know what Bo-Katan said. I've seen your face a million times or something like that. It was pretty rude, honestly. But I don't know, man. I don't feel like Boba Fett has a place anymore. Not literally in the Star Wars universe. I mean, like he feels out of place now in terms of like where Star Wars is going. No, I'm not gonna spoil it. Never mind.
That's fair. And also, like, you at least gave a reason for not liking it more than the fucking bike scene. So I appreciate and respect that. Coach, sorry, you said you had a reply to a comment.
So kind of like what Seth was feeling is the Boba Fett we got in season 2 of Mandalorian was not the Boba Fett that we got in the series. He was more like an old man who didn't even want to. And at the end, he's like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. Right. And there wasn't that Boba Fett where he was just taking out stormtroopers in Mandalorian season 2. He wanted to rule with respect. Come on, man. They Disney-fied him. They Disney-fied Boba Fett. And even at the very, very end, they could have redeemed it and he should have gone in there and but instead they put Fennec in there, right? When she took out the rest of who are the off-world guys that was trying to run it?
Like the other Hutts?
No, the one with
gang,
the mask.
right?
Yeah, I forget who they are, but it just didn't fit. Like even with Black Carancium or whatever his name is, he was hardcore, man. He knocked Chewbacca out. Like this was a bad dude, and for him to have him like run away like a beat down dog at the end of that episode, I was like, wait, what? That's not how his character is. So the writers just missed on it. There were some good scenes. There were some good things. Like I said, the first 2 episodes, I was all in, 10 out of 10. And then that biker scene's what kind of started it. And like Seth said, that's what we remember. But it should have been the Book of Fennec Shan because she's the one that was like pushing him to do what he should have done.
Yeah, Fennec Shan's a cool character.
Yeah, awesome. She's good.
I do agree. I think like it's I don't want to read a book where Joker is the star, but I would read a book where like a gangster is the star talking about what it's like to work for the Joker, So I do agree, like some of these characters are more interesting just to see how they shape the world as opposed to seeing like how they think about shaping the world. I will agree with that. And that might have been a better choice.
I have one weird thing about the Book of Boba Fett also is that they have the best looking Twi'lek in any sort of Star Wars media, and I don't understand why the other Twi'leks don't look as good in terms of like the Leku and stuff. Mm-hmm. That bar owner, that looks phenomenal, and I'm like, then you see like Hera in the new Ahsoka show, and I'm like, all right, looks like every other Twi'lek we've seen, but why they put so much work into making that bartender look phenomenal? in terms of like the costume and the body paint and stuff. And then every other Twi'lek is like a really lame green person with long tentacles. I don't know.
They
Well,
just wanted to
12-year-old
make
me
you.
would be arguing with you right now from Return of the Jedi, right? In '83 when she was slave.
You just like that she had like the mesh vest in '83.
Well, so this is actually interesting you say that, because then someone posted, I saw, this was what reminded me of it, is people arguing about this online, and then someone posted a picture of the Twi'lek in '83, and no, it doesn't look good anymore. When you in the context of the movie and all the costumes, and you don't really notice it, but when you compare it to like a modern day like representation of a Twi'lek, it's like, okay, that it looks pretty bad.
Well, they wanted to make you fall in love with her so they could break your heart when they killed her, I think was the.
Which was a weird death, but anyways, that was like.
I'm still confused at that scene.
Yeah, me too.
Let's burn through the rest of these TV shows, and then let's save a review for like comics and movies for another episode, because I think we're starting to run a little long. Yellow Jackets season 2, which I don't watch, but all my friends watch and tell me how much of an idiot I am for not watching it. Let's see, Ted Lasso season 3, final season. The Last of Us, that was this year.
Was that this year?
4 episodes.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That feels like ages ago. That show is so good. Loved it.
Let's see, Star Trek Picard season 3. I believe that's also the final season, was this year. Succession season 4, that just ended. That was this year. You guys watch Succession?
Never seen it.
It's really good. I just have such a hard like. They're just. You guys ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
A little bit here and there.
I love that show so much, but like I can't watch more than like 4 episodes of that show in a row because I just get like secondhand embarrassment for everything that happens on that show. And Succession, like it's really well done, but it's just like about like the most fucking horrible people you would love to punch in the face, you know. And it's just like I can only handle so much of that. Beef premiered this year, not that long ago. I think just a few weeks ago. You guys watched that with Ali Wong and Stephen Yeun?
No, I'll be honest, George. I'm not really much of a TV person.
Oh man, Beef on Netflix. Beef on Netflix, fucking excellent. It's like literally just about like the fallout from people who are has like a road rage incident with each other, and like they both try to like systematically ruin the other person's life after that. It's really good. It's really funny. Barry season 4, HBO, that also just ended. No one? Fuck Barry. Barry's really good. Poker Face premiered this year, Natasha Lyonne, where it's basically just Columbo. You guys are fucking losers. Like turn off the games every once in a while and just like watch TV.
Dude,
I don't watch much TV.
Dude, I've got to catch up on 36 seasons of Clone Wars and Rebels before Ahsoka
like
comes out. I can't watch anything else.
You guys can shut the fuck up about Book of Boba Fett, but like, oh yeah, like one of the highest rated shows of all time, Succession or Barry. It's like, it's fine, I'll skip it. That's all I got for games and TV. But Coach has some nominees. Coach, are these ones that came out this year that we missed?
Yes.
Okay, hit us
these
up,
are smaller games too. They're RPGs. So, have you guys heard of Chained Echoes?
Mm-hmm.
So that is your throwback to like your SNES turn-based RPGs. And then then there was a game. Now I downloaded these. I bought these because these are probably my summer games that I want to play after Tears of the Kingdom, but also Trinity Trigger. So
that
and
game looked
that's
really
an
good.
action. Yeah, that's an action one. Now I did look at the reviews form, and they said that the story is like average, right? But it still looks good on everything that I've seen. So, and then I want to say, and then when did Tales of Arise release on PS5? Was that recent? Or was that last year?
That was probably at least 2 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's been a
I
while.
thought it just came out on PS5 like recently. I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Right. But the two that were some lesser known games that I think I'm gonna definitely give a try. And then of course, Sea of Stars is coming out this fall, I think it is.
Yep.
So
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
Is that a Star Ocean game?
No, it's a independent or indie JRPG that's based around Chrono Trigger.
Okay,
Pretty
it
cool.
wasn't even me being a smartass. Sea of Stars, is that a Star Ocean game? I really thought it was Star Ocean : Sea of Stars. Oh, it was not.
Anything
I'm not even making a joke.
Yeah. So for those that don't have a lot of time, like such as myself, I think those games run between 20 to 30 hours. So those are like super doable for me this year. So I'm going to try and at least get Trinity Trigger, Chained Echoes, and Sea of Stars. And if I do have time, then Live a Live or Live Alive.
Yeah, buddy.
Or Live a Live and Life a Life. I don't know.
Viva la vida. Yeah.
Viva la Raza.
Man, I'm looking forward. We were talking before we started recording about some episode ideas down the pipeline. I'm actually really excited. I want to do one for games. I'm really looking forward to it. And Coach, now that you're here, we can talk about it. But that's pretty much all I got. We'll save movies and comics for another time when it's like a slow week. We just to talk about like the first half of the year. Anything else before we start to wrap up, boys?
No.
Nothing from my end. Tears of the Kingdom.
Good to be back.
All right. I would love to honestly just do like one episode where we do just talk about each of the Star Wars movies. Like we just don't talk about games fucking at all.
Yes,
would be
let's do
great. I would love for us to also just talk about TV that doesn't star a Wookiee or a Twi'lek or any sort of fictionalized race of aliens. That'd be
What shows
cool
are you
too.
talking? What are you implying, George?
Yeah, you have to let us know. So
It's just all you guys do
I don't
is shit
know.
on Star Wars, but you don't watch like other TV. It's like
I don't.
it's mind-boggling.
What?
I don't shit on Star Wars, just the bad ones.
I love Star
Have you
Wars.
guys watched Wednesday?
No, I don't watch Wednesday.
Wednesday was pretty
Bro,
good.
that
Wednesday was
show
really good.
just like that was an amazing show.
Sorry, I only
love-
watch fantasy, sci-fi shows. I can't watch anything close to reality.
It's Wednesday fucking Addams where she goes to like a spooky school. You
Yeah.
jackass.
Dude,
So
honestly,
it is fantasy. It is really good.
since I got the like a smart TV with the YouTube app, I really don't watch any shows anymore. Like I watch pretty much just YouTube, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Same.
Just game grumping yourself to sleep.
No, honestly, I barely watch any video game coverage on YouTube. But me and Caitlin will watch like I don't know, top 10 lists or like mysteries or like stuff like that.
If you want a
the
good
YouTube algorithm
education,
has me so dialed in that it's crazy.
you want a good education channel. My rabbit hole for the past several months has been Tom Scott. Look him up.
Isn't he? Yeah, I know Tom Scott.
He's great. He
That's
wears a red
familiar.
shirt. He's British.
That's not the lawn.
Yeah.
King guy?
And he goes like, yeah, I know this guy.
He's great.
Phenomenal.
Great
Yeah,
videos.
I agree.
So
Coach, I feel like you would really like this one channel on YouTube called Secret Galaxy, where they just like take a deep dive look at like 80s and 90s properties. And so like I think the most recent episode was them talking about Silverhawks
Mhm.
and just like doing like what happened, where did it come from, what was with the toy line. Like they just do like the most impeccable research I've ever seen for nerdy shit that no one else cares about.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I go to bed, I'll just put on like TV commercials from the 90s or the 80s, and I am thoroughly entertained, bro. Like
from our ones, right? Like ARWUNS, because that's the commercial compilation channel I watch.
yeah. Oh my god. And especially during Christmas. Yeah, that's where I get my Christmas. Yeah, like I'm a little kid.
Make some hot cocoa, put a little Bailey's in there,
hell
and
yeah,
it just curl up. Yeah, it's good shit.
And you know what's funny is in the 90s, like we hated commercials, but now you look at that and you're like, oh, that was a good time period in our life.
I'm just so like I miss like I work in advertising, so I don't have like I think a better opinion of it than you guys do. But I also think I just see more ads than you guys do because like I go out of my way to see like do it for work and like I go to Adweek, I go to Ads the World and like spend several hours a day just like combing through shit like between meetings and whatnot. I'm just so sick of like the 2023 style where like everything is like pastel colored on like a white background and there's like no people whatsoever because that way it's easier to dub into other languages like across different markets. You don't offend anyone by like having a white hand do something so you can run it in markets that are like predominantly non-white. Like there's just like all these like layers that they build these things with as opposed to just like having an opinion and just kind of like shoving that out into the world. And it's just like, God, I miss the times when everything wasn't shot on like a white backdrop with, like I said, just pastel colors and like an ironic messaging. Like I just I miss old ads. I miss old ads so much. Well, seems as good a place to end as any. You can follow the show on social media at frameskippod on Twitter. Austin, do we have an Instagram?
We do. Frameskip Pod.
Wow, great
Follow
name.
it.
What do we take
You can-
pictures of?
Each other.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, you-
I'm not going to say which body parts, but
Okay.
The good ones. Yeah. You can follow us on YouTube at just search Frameskip Podcast. We'll pop up. In fact, I hope that's where you're watching us now. Share this channel from YouTube. Talk about us to your friends. Let us know if you want to come on the show and tell us why these guys are fools for not liking Book of Boba Fett, or why I'm an idiot for liking it more than most.
that one.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Let's have Pedro on so we could talk about like how good the Islanders were this year, because they're in the Stanley Cup, which is fucking awesome. Oh wait, no, they're not. They're not in the Stanley Cup. My bad.
Could talk about Kiseki and beating Seth's ass in Street Fighter, a few different things.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
That'd be a great time because you guys would just roast each other about sports the entire episode.
Who'd you fight over at PAX?
Cameron.
Okay.
Oh,
Cameron, who no longer
Yeah.
exists.
yeah.
What
He
about
got
the other
disappeared.
dude that came with us?
Blake,
Yeah, where's he been, bro?
you know, just being himself. I don't know where either of those guys are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cameron actually hit me up like 4 years ago and was and like Snapchatted me and then stopped replying and it was gone.
I just, when you said 4, I don't know why I was expecting like weeks or months. I wasn't
Yeah,
expecting
years.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we've been friends so long, but Cameron hit me up like 4 years ago. This was like 2 years after he disappeared, 2 or 3 years, and like he stopped replying to me then like went AWOL again. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
It's,
So you
it's
got
gonna be
ghosted
such
by him twice.
it's gonna be such an old sentence, but like it is gonna be like truthful when like, you know, you talk about this years from now. It's like, man, I haven't talked to that guy since like before the pandemic. You know, and it's just like that's like something like our grandparents would say about like fucking March of Dimes or something.
It's crazy though, like the timeline. You know, the older you get, the faster time moves, is what they say, and it's weird to think back, like, you know, specifically with Seth and Coach. Like, we've known each other. Seth, I've known you for like 11 years at this point, which is nuts.
Yeah.
That's like almost half my life. So
Yeah.
I met you in 2013, I guess.
Yeah,
You're what, in 10th grade?
I think
Might
so.
have been earlier than 2013. We went to PAX in 2013.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
No, 2014, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
you're right. I think you're right,
Yeah,
Coach.
2014.
I feel like I've been talking to you guys since like 2013, 2014, but then like met you at PAX East
Yeah.
in 2015.
It's the same year that Coach went. Yeah.
Which is funny.
Crazy.
I gotta be honest. I only remember hanging out with Elijah and Seth because we went to Jimmy John's. And Seth, I thought you were such a conceited asshole the first time I met
Why?
you. Because you were just like so confident. You were too cool for the fucking room you were in. And you're just sitting there. And it just like the way you were talking about stuff, I'm like, this guy thinks he's just king shit.
But
Well,
he
look
is
at him.
king
Look at
shit,
him. He
George.
is.
Well, I
Yeah.
know that now.
He ran our podcast, bro. Like he is king shit. Seth, you are king shit, man.
Thanks. I'm curious as to how I acted differently back then, but
I think it's because I know you better,
You're
and I can
confident,
like
bro.
I can kind of tell when you're joking now. I just like didn't have a great like barometer for it back in 2015, where like you'd be like, that game's a piece of shit, and I like couldn't tell if you. I was like, I just said I liked that game, and like he didn't like give me anything to go on besides saying it was a piece of shit. I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm gonna go talk to Elijah now. He seems
I do
like
run
the
into this
nicer
issue.
one.
And this was
I
in
do run into this issue where
2014?
people don't know I'm being sarcastic, and I had this issue at work where, like I would like yell sarcastically at somebody trying to be funny, and then he didn't realize that it was being funny. This was like years ago. We're friends now, but he came in and started screaming at me the one day. He's like, "I'm so sick of your bullshit," and I'm like, "What?"
Cool. So it's not just me.
No, it's happened. a
Yeah,
few
we
times.
actually had that exact conversation about 5 minutes before the show started.
I actually react better to it than most people. It sounds like, or I
Yeah.
just thought you were a douchebag. I never ever said anything to you about it. I was like, yeah, just ride this one out, I guess.
George,
How
was that
long did this guy?
2014?
PAX is in the spring, right? PAX East is in the spring.
Yeah.
That was 2015 then.
Okay. I just remember that Saturday waking up and my body just hurting.
Yeah,
I
like
didn't feel
feeling dead
refreshed.
inside. Yeah, like
Oh,
our soul
yeah.
had left our bodies. No, I felt the same
Bro,
way.
you ain't lying, dude. Like waking up like, what the hell, man? So, but that's where we got our first taste of VR, remember?
Yeah, we played that
Yeah.
little action figure game on like the Oculus
No.
Dev Kit
Coach
1.
left. Coach left and left the line
yeah.
and went and played VR at a
Because
different
your
place.
girlfriend at the time said she told me go over there. It's a shorter line, so
But
Yep.
Seth and I played the little action figure thing, right?
Yeah, it was super lame.
Yeah, it sucked.
this
I
one
remember
had a
walking away
gun,
being like,
and where the trigger is, that's where you would move. You'd use your thumb to go forward and stuff.
We went to a panel too, right?
probably went to
Yeah,
whatever
we
kind
went
of
to
funny panels happening.
It's a game
Beyond.
Scoop
No, not
or
Beyond. Game Scoop. Yeah, Game Scoop.
All right, well, let's say goodbye for the 9th time. Did I forget anything? bit.ly/frameskip pod?
Bit.ly/frameskip live is where you can go and find us
Hey.
on our YouTube channel.
/
Go there.
retro and modern network.
Nope.
/press start to play.
Mm-mm.
It's a great name.
Thank you. I was really proud of that name.
Yeah.
Did that and had a Star Wars podcast called The Podcast Strikes Back.
That's also
That's
You
a
couldn't
good
get that
one,
today.
bro.
you couldn't get that. There's probably 16 other podcasts
Right.
called Press Start to Play now, but back then, you copped it early. Great
Mhm.
name.
Yeah, should have domain squatted on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been fun, guys. I'm gonna go finish Jedi Survivor, I think.
All right.
Proud of you. Let me know what you think when you're done. I'll be up all night.
All right. Sounds
Is
good.
it snowing where you're at?
It is June.
I know.
It is. Sorry, it is May 30th.
You guys have
It is-
weird. You guys have weird weather.
You live up there in the north, you coldie.
You live up there on that asteroid by Pluto, right? No, it was. Although it was 36 degrees yesterday morning, so I feel bad for making fun of you when you're right about how fucking cold it is here, despite being summer.
I need that. I need that. in my life.
Go Celtics next year. We'll do it next year.
No.
Do I end the podcast? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
got to
think I
end it.
have
You
one,
got to say goodbye.
But I did like 11 times in a row. Do you,
You
press
did?
the end call? Do I press end call?
Can you say goodbye?
Love you guys.
Peace.
Goodbye.